Hello students, today I will be modeling the mini lesson video for you, and in doing so I am going to be your 8th grade teacher, Mrs. Turner. Now today our lesson goal is to continue working on this Common Core standard in language where you use phrases and clauses within a sentence. Now we are not going to do misplaced and dangling modifiers yet. Instead, we are going to continue to focus on writing clauses. And in fact, today we're going to be looking at and practicing a specific kind of modifier, a modifying clause called an appositive. The instructional strategies I'll be demonstrating include cueing and questioning, activating prior knowledge, and direct instruction. Now, in thinking about what you will have to do for this lesson, I have to consider what you already know and what we've already talked about and practiced, which is parts of a sentence, nouns and verbs, and different kinds of phrases. You've also done most of these skills. You've already written simple sentences and added commas to sentences. Today, we're going to identify appositives in sentences and also write them. In order to do this, you're going to have to think. And the thinking you'll be doing is in this yellow circle. You're going to have to determine how and where the commas will be used, and in fact, what counts as renaming the subject as opposed to describing the subject. You'll see what I mean. First, we'll need to review quickly what makes a complete sentence. Now, if you said a subject and a verb, you are correct, and often there is an object as well. And at this part in the lesson, I might stop to have you generate some of those while I write them on the board. That way we've got our functioning model in our heads so that we can use it to elaborate on it for new information. Instead of giving you the definition for appositives, I would like you to be able to generate that definition based on examples. So here's some examples. See if you tell a pattern. Melinda, a new student, drank Red Bull before class. The Red Bull, a zing to the senses, made her alert and anxious. When she took her seat, a rigid contraption from the 1970s, she trembled in its iron frame. What do you notice? If you said that there is a bunch of words offset by commas in between each sentence, you would be right. If you said that that bunch of words renames the subject, you are also right. So notice that Melinda is also a new student. The Red Bull is also a zing to the senses. The seat is also a rigid contraption from the 1970s. By using appositives, you're able to enlarge your sentences and make them more artistic without having errors. So, an appositive is basically a clause that renames an object. So, our cat can be a snappy dresser in heels. And Joey is also my best friend. Here I will give you some more difficult passages to see if you can find the appositives. I'll wait for a minute while you look. Let's read this first one together. The sky was sunless and gray. There was snow in the air, buoyant motes, playing things that seethed and floated like the toy flakes inside a crystal. Well, if you notice that our subject is the sky, and that there's snow in the air, what gets renamed? Well, look, it looks like the snow is getting renamed, right? It's also buoyant motes. And notice this is a double appositive. It's also playthings that seethed and floated. In the second example, we are renaming the teams. The ball players on his left are Murderers Row, the championship team of 1927. And the ball players on his right are the Bronx Bombers, the Yankees of today. So notice that appositives help you enlarge your sentence in ways that make it come alive for your reader. And by using those commas, you don't have mixed modifiers, which we'll talk about later. All right, let's try remembering that an appositive acts as a thing. So if my sentence is dinner, then we're going to insert an appositive, upset my stomach. What could we do? Well, if I say dinner, which was late, notice that that's a description of when that dinner arrives. It's not a thing. It's not renaming it. But if I say dinner, an unsatisfying mashup from yesterday's lunch, that's also a thing. Or if it's a boar fest of noodles, that's also a thing. Or a spicy feast, also a thing. Let's try. So now you've identified an appositive, several appositives in fact. Let's see if you can write one. So on your exit slip with your teams, if you like, describe what's happening in the photo in one sentence. In it, use an appositive and send it off with commas. Now remember, for this, you're going to have to decide what the subject is, and then you're going to rename it, right? And by doing so, you will have met my goal, which is that you will identify appositives and correctly use one in a sentence, using commas when needed. Thank you.